is the end of tutorial 9. I will either make tutorial 10 later tonight or tomorrow, and that'll be making an application that uses user input using a GUI and then does something with it and prints that out to an applet. So anyway, I think that is the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Hello, this is EBS Mac Tutorials, back with another Java tutorial. This time focusing on some a little more complex Java applets. I am going to, please watch this in HD full screen in order to read the text on the screen better. I will be posting the source code I showed today in the description of this video. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you what this program is going to do. It's going to basically use a GUI, use your jOptionPane.showMessageDialog and jOptionPane. Show input dialog, and then it's going to use those to get some user input and inform the user of what the program does. It's going to add the first two numbers, then multiply those first two numbers the user entered by the third number the user enters, then print out what is it called? Print out that result inside of a box. Might take a couple tries to get the pixels right, but let's start. So we're going to import java.awt.graphics. We're going to import javax.swing.wildcard. And we're going to write public class Java tutorial 10 extends JApplet. And we're going to put our code in here. And so now we're going to write a new method. So our method is going to be public void init. That means initialize. We're going to initialize some variables. Also, before we do that, I'm going to initialize some global variables. I'm pretty sure this is a global variable. And double final answer. And this is defining two variables as global, which means this and any other methods inside this class, and I think maybe even outside of this class, I'm pretty sure that's called global, can access them and write to them and read from them. So I'll show you how that works in just a minute. So string number 1, string 1, string 2, string 3. Then we're going to do some doubles, so double number 1, double number 2, double number 3. So we're going to write our jOptionPane.showMessageDialog null. We're going to define this as HTML so we can do our breaks. Then this program will take three user inputted numbers, add the first two, and multiply this sum by the third number the user enters. We're going to put our breaks appropriately, so let's put one right here, and that should be it. Then we're going to, the title is going to be what this program does, and remember what, this is the first kind of string inside of that window. This second string here is basically, it is, at least for show message dialog, essentially what the top of the window shows, that kind of top label, like this one's Java tutorial /source /Java. It's that thing up there, except for the little window. So what this program does, and then we're going to do our enter, and we're going to write our jOptionPane.question message. I don't know why they use question message there. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to end it properly. Cannot be resolved or is not in a field. We need a comma here. And there we go. This should not be a capital P. And that's it. So now we're going to do our setting strings equal to what the user inputs, because remember, anything accepted for our purposes from a GUI is going to automatically be a string. If it's a number and you want to work with that number, you're going to have to parse it into an appropriate type of number. So I'm going to do string 1 is equal to jOptionPane.showInputDialog, and enter the first value end quotes. Then what we have in the second quotes is not what the title is, but what the default text is inside the box. So I'm going to put first number. You'll see just a minute. I've explained this in a previous tutorial, but in case you have forgotten or haven't seen those tutorials, I will try to remember to point that out later in the tutorial. So string 2 equals j option pane dot show input dialog. Enter the second value, second number, like that. And finally our third, string 3 equals j option pane dot show input dialog. Enter the third value, and with the default text of third number, just like that. Now we're going to have to do our parsing, so we're going to say number 1 equals double dot parse double, and we're going to parse the string 1 for number 1. So number 2 equals double dot parse double string 2, and finally number 3 equals double dot parse double string 3. And you don't need these spaces, I'm just adding them to look nice. Basically, parsing, if the user enters for A and it tries to parse it, it'll see the character A and get an error unless you like an ASCII conversion table, which I haven't gone into and I don't know how to do yet. But if you are doing something such as if they enter 46 or 463.9 or something, the computer, if you ask it to parse it, will recognize that, and as long as you're not setting equal to an int and as a decimal, or it's way too big for the, or it's too big for the data type you define, say, long, double, byte, char, char. Don't know whether it's char, I know I'm pretty sure it stands for character, I think. But anyway, so parsing takes a string that the computer sees as 1, if I have 46, 4 is, well, the way strings are stored, and I've talked about this before, is they're stored as arrays. And so array, subset, whatever it's called, I don't know exactly what the system uses for naming, but let's just say we have string 1. So, array 1 subset 0 would be equal to the first character, and array 1 subset 1 would be equal to the second character, if you know what I mean. And so it sees it like that. It doesn't see them as numbers, it sees them as just another character, just like a semicolon, or an ampersand, or an asterisk, or the mod operator, the percent sign. But we are a little, we want to do something with the numbers the user enters, so we must parse them, then we can use them. So then I'm going to say that our global variable first to sum, I'm thinking of final answer, equals first to sum equals, wants me to insert a semicolon, first to sum equals, and then we're going to put number 1 plus number 2. Ta-da! And then our double of final answer is equal to first to sum times the value of number 3. So now we have this global variable. This global variable is set equal to this sum, and then this global variable is set equal to that sum multiplied by the third number the user enters after it is parsed from a string into a double. So then we're going to move on to our next class, which will be the paint class. Public void paint graphics G, like that. And by the way, I think in the last tutorial I mentioned that it doesn't have to be called paint. I've later found out I'm pretty sure it does have to be called paint, so keep that in mind. When I called it other stuff, it didn't work. So anyway, proceed with caution in that field. G.drawRect, that stands for rectangle. Let's just say we place it at 20 out, 20 down. And the next two values are the width and the height. Not an endpoint, but the width and the height. So you got to remember that when moving from G.drawLine to G.drawRect, that the first number is a starting point. Your second number in drawRect is, well, your second, I guess, like, XY coordinate, I guess you could say, is actually length and width, not like it is with G.drawLine where it is yet another is the endpoint of the line. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to make it, say, 210, 210 long, and say 20 high. And then we're going to go g.drawString. Your result is, end quotes properly. And then we're going to add to it, concatenate. We're not actually adding, we're concatenating that with final answer. And then we're going to put a comma here and then put the out and down. So let's just try 25, 25. We can always change that later if that doesn't work out. And one cool thing to add to this program would be telling you, assuming the user is only entering integers, whether the answer at least is only an integer, whether it's even or odd. So how would you find that? Well, and this wouldn't work for 0 because I think 0 is of a different type of number. It's not even or odd, or I don't know what's quite is going on with 0. But aside from 0 and aside from decimals, this will work. If you have a number such as 8 and you divide that by 2, what's your remainder? 0. If you have a number like 9 and you divide that by 2, what's your remainder? 1. So every odd number when divided by 2 will have a remainder of 1. Every even number when divided by 2 will have a remainder of 0. So we can use our mod operator, which gives us just the remainder of the division, such as this. Let's see. If final, well, you know what, let's define. I'll break this down so it makes more sense. We'll have a double of a, and that's that equal to final answer divided by 2. Or, sorry, mod 2. Like that. And that'll divide final answer by 2 and give us just the remainder. Then we're going to have another line of code that'll say if a is equal to 0, then run this. So if a is 0, that means it's even. So g.drawString, your result is even, with a location of, let's say, 40, 40, like that. Why is it not like that? Not available for the argument string int. I need a comma here. Okay, so now we go g.draw. Wait, no, what am I doing? Yeah. So we'll have a new one out here. Oops, what am I doing? So we'll have a new one out here that is another if. It'll be an else if I can put a space there. A is equal to 1. Oops. If a is equal to 1, then it must be odd, right? So we do g.drawString. Your result is odd. Oops. Just like that. Our x, we will put it at 40, same as the other one, not for hyphen 40, just like that, and end it properly with a semicolon. So let's see if this works. Obviously, we'll have to mess around with the pixels a little bit, probably the pixel location, in order to get this working properly. Okay, so see that first number right there that's highlighted? That's the default text that I entered right there. Okay, so I'm going to have 5, 4, so that's adding 5 and 4 together to get 9, then multiplying it by 3, which will give us 27. See? Your result is 27. Your result is odd, as it says right there. So let's change that box a little. Let's put that at 2015 and bump this down to 30. Let's see how that works. And let me do one that will be even. 4 plus 4 times 2. That's going to be 16. Your result is 16. Your result is even. See? Let's move that box up just a little bit more. 10. By the way, something that I don't really do, but that should be done, by the way, look, multi-line, that should be done, but that I don't really do much in my code, that should be 20, yep, is I don't really annotate it, I guess, very well. You know, that's the comments like this, like that, or the comments, multi-line comments like this. The compiler ignores that stuff there inside of those. Either the double quotes are single line. The backslash asterisk are can be up to any amount of lines that's not too big for the file to hold. Java files do have a certain limit for how large they can be. I once ran into that while having fun with copy and paste. I was trying to do kind of like a thing that would... I was trying to test the limits of my Java compiler. And I don't know if that's Java in general or just my compiler, but there is some limit at which of how large your Java file, without any of the repositories like images, graphics, well, images and graphics are kind of the same thing, but sounds, graphics, animations, movies, whatever, movement-based control type things, plugins, codecs, not that kind of stuff, but just the text for the actual Java program, I'm pretty sure can only be up to a certain size. Where was I going with that? Oh, yes, I was going to change this to 40. Just for user interface, nice neatness. Should give us 20. Yep, there we go. And how do you like that? Pretty slick, huh? Instead of drawing 4 lines and figuring out the exact distances, you just draw one rectangle. And so that is essentially it for today's tutorial. I will be again uploading this code to Mediafire and posting that in the description. I will also tonight be making my Minecraft Let's Play Expedition Farlands, and that'll be fun. And I don't know when this stuff will be uploaded, probably tomorrow, which is Saturday, July 2nd. So I think that is about it, and please like this video if it has helped you with Java, and feel free to drop me a line in the comments if you have any questions with your code. Until next time, this was The Best Mac Tutorials. Hello, this is The Best Mac Tutorials, back with another Java tutorial. I haven't been doing Java tutorials lately. I am going to start doing them more, but my class does end very soon, and so this batch of Java tutorials will probably be the last ones for a while unless I continue learning Java on my own until hopefully I get another class later on. We'll see how that goes. So today I'm going to be talking about I'm going to talk about 3 things today. I'm going to do 3 Java tutorials today. Java tutorial 11, 12, and 13. And so I'm going to focus on 11 right now. And 11 is going to be the bubble sort. So my source folder is going to be GUI test source. It's just a random folder I made. And the name tutorial 11. Might as well give us that. And so bubble sort is pretty simple. The way bubble sort works is it essentially takes an array. It's for sorting arrays usually, and it sorts it so that it's from least to greatest or greatest to least or whatever. And so the way it does that is it says, say you're going from least to greatest, and you have an array with 3 numbers, and the first, let's see, we're going from least to greatest. So the first number is 3, the second number is 2, and the third number is 4. So we have, I'm just going to type this in, 3, 2, and 4. Those are the arrays, the array contents. So if we're trying to sort from least to greatest, it would take 3 and 2, and it'd say, is 3 less than 2? No. So it would swap them. So then we would have 2, 3, 4, and then it'd say, okay, so that one's done. So move on to the next 2. Is 3 less than 4? Yes, so it's done. Now if we had a longer array, of course it'd be longer, the whole process. So bubble sort is essentially for large arrays at the speed of pretty much n squared, n being the number of items in the array that's being sorted. And so let's just get started. So we're going to make an array. Let's just put array. And we're going to leave those fields blank. We're not going to define anything in there right now. And we're going to set it equal to new integer, and it's going to have 500 cells in it. And now we are going to, oh, you know what, let's import java.util.wildcard so we can use our random class and make a random object. Random equals new random. And so now we can use our random object. So I'm going to fill each item in this array with a random number from 1 to 1000. And so to do that, we're going to do a for statement. For int, let's just say I equals 0, So we're making a variable I, which is equal to 0. We're saying I has to be less than my array, or actually just array dot length, and one is added to I each time this is run. And so it doesn't redefine I every time we run this. That's the beauty of these for statements. But every time it runs this line of code, it'll add one to I. So if we have, say, array I, because I is the number up here, so I equals 0, it's array subscript 0, so the first cell in the array, equals random.next int 1000. Ta-da! So what we just did is we just filled the array named array, every single cell of it with a random number from 1 to 1000. Now we're going to print that out. So we're going to say print unsorted array, and we're going to pass it array.